Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. Well, you got this close, Prophet, to hitting Houston. I really am surprised they lost. One of those games, but I was surprised they beat Duke, so it all kind of ends the same way. Anyway, I'll start with gold as we usually do. Gold right now is it's up to 3,010. And silver at 30.14. So what's been happening is a lot of margin calls. What's a margin call? You buy a stock or an option on margin, which means leveraged, which means I want to buy 100 shares of Coca-Cola and it's $40 a share would be $4,000. Well, but I can get an extra 10,000 shares for the $4,000, and I can have $40,000. I can have 10,000 shares. If I think it's going to go up, I can leverage it, which I can make more if I'm right. If I'm wrong, I got to cover the margin. If the stock goes down to 30, I get a little call from the broker saying, no, you got to cover that. Sorry, but it's not. You've got to keep it at like 50%. So it's okay if it goes up. It's not okay if it goes down. Well, if it goes down, what do I do? Well, I need to sell. I need to get the money to cover the margin. Well, I might have money in the bank. If I don't have money in the bank, I got to get the money or I'm screwed. So I got to go sell assets. And in this case, the asset is the COMEX, the gold and the silver of it, which is the non-central bank buying. It's for whatever reason, people are buying options on COMEX instead of buying physical, which is incredibly stupid. So gold's been going up, so their accounts have been going up. But now I need money to cover my margin calls on Coke and Pepsi and Disney and Apple's going down. So Apple's a good example, right? And so I deleted a lot of. I had to cover my margin call on the stock with my FX stuff on gold and COMEX. So a lot of selling went for the margin call people, not the central banks. Central banks, it's 30.10. It was down to 29.80, and now they bought it back up. And I'm expecting a big day today as we're approaching noon. We really haven't had that big drop. So I think we'll see. We'll get close to 30.50 or 30.60. And with the margin calls settling down now, I mean, they only happen once. Markets crashing, stocks have been getting hit. Okay, that happens one time. Now the market's going to get hit again, but it'll be a little bit. So that's all that's happened. Nobody sold an ounce of gold. They sold the futures. What's on COMEX is what they sold, but that's, as we said, that's paper gold, which is ridiculous. Who cares? Silver went down to 30.16. I saw a video where Larry Fink, our favorite Madoff, they sold a lot of paper silver. A lot of that was margin calls, right? Um, they're trying to keep the price down, but there's too much buying from the BRICS countries, China, Russia, India, solar barrels, and also to get out of the leverage. Uh, so for solar panels and what else is there for silver? A little bit of the military, although I doubt that's doing anything. So that's what we have. Let's see what Bitcoin was back into the 70s. I think it was 79 today. Bitcoin price was 78,561. So, are you Bitcoin people worried? Are you still going to yell at me because I kept you out of it? Are you going to sit there and go, huh, yeah, maybe he was right? And gold's your answer. The best way I can explain Bitcoin, this is real. You can see it. You can hold it. It has a value based on the market. This is far more limited as a PSA 9 or PSA 10 than Bitcoin by a mile. 21 million. I doubt they made 21 million when Topps printed even the bullshit cards that are PSA 1s and 2s. There's not 21 million Mantle cards, 68. This is his last card, so it has a value a little bit greater than the other ones. Okay, here's Bitcoin. Can you see it? Can you hold it? It's not a coin. If you notice when they do Bitcoins, they show those gold Bitcoin coins. Again, part of the scam because there are no coins. It shouldn't be called Bitcoin because it's not a coin. So this is real. You can buy it and hold it in your hand and you go, I got a Mantle card. You can hold it in your hand. You can see what the card looks like. But if we do Bitcoin, it isn't that coin. That's a gold coin. That's not what Bitcoin is. That's gold. It's funny how Bitcoin keeps using gold to say, "Oh, we're gold." Yeah, well, just buy the gold then. People don't buy the Bitcoin. So I think the illusion is Bitcoin is coins, which it isn't. It's this. It's nothing. You can't even see what it looks like, and you can't touch it. You can't put it in your safe. Basically, you're buying air. That's as simple as I can make it. Anybody that believes we'll be the Bitcoin capital of the world is just, those are the same people that were invested in Madoff. I don't know what he does, but I know I get 15% a year. So therefore, that's all I care about is I'm getting my 15%, which is what's happening here. Well, I don't know what Bitcoin is, but oh, geez, it's worth 100,000. Okay, I just showed you 78,000. Now, are you getting nervous yet? As I told my friends, the 401k money, are you getting nervous yet? Let's look what the Dow's doing today. Hey, Real D. Good morning to you too. So let's see what our stock market's doing. Let's see. Stock market today. Stock market today is up $900 at 38.86. So it was 45. It's now 38. Why is it up? The tariffs are still there. Nothing's changed. So if you sold because of the tariffs, as you should have, They haven't changed. So what's going on? The U.S. economy adds 228,000 jobs, indicating labor market was in good health prior to the tariffs. And what kind of jobs were these? Government jobs or working at the grocery store? Real deep. Really appreciate you teaching me about gold talk. To Jewish man the other day, he told gold is best thing to always put your money in. Oh, so you were talking to a Jewish man the other day. He told you gold. Yeah, well, the real reason is because you can't print it. All right. It's limited to 200,000 tons. You can't print it. There's huge demand for it. So if you understand the concepts of that, this has been printed. There's like what, $170 trillion. So the more that they get printed, the less they're worth. If you just understand that one concept, you're welcome, Real D. If you understand that one concept, that this is worthless because they keep printing it. And when they have the debt, they got to come up with $1 trillion of debt, they print the money. When they have to come up with Social Security and Medicare, they print the money. When they have to pay the military, they print the money. What the deficit is we get so much in taxes used to pay for the government. So let's say it's you're running your own household. So you go to work, you get so much money from work. And that's all. Let's say you get $5,000 a month, but that's all you should be spending, right? You got rent or mortgage, you got electricity and heat, you got food, I need new clothes, I got to get gas and insurance for my car, I might have a car payment. So you can only spend the 5,000 you get in, or you go on debt and you put it on your credit card, but then you're spending more than 5,000 and you got to pay back the debt. And so that's what's happening. But in the government, they get more, okay, let's say they get 5,000 a month, they're spending 10. And the way they combat it is to issue these bonds. So they want to issue bonds to cover it. That's how they come up with their extra money, because they don't have a credit card because they're the government. So they print money, right? And so they keep printing money because they spend more than they get each month. Hence, they keep printing the money and the money keeps losing value. And that can't stop, because if they went and printed $37 trillion, the money they would use would be worthless. And they'd actually have to print about 60 trillion to get the value of the 37 trillion. And nobody wants the dollars. So China and Japan hold a lot of these treasuries. Even if you paid them back, they wouldn't want the dollar. They want gold for it. So they're dumping all these dollars that they bought so we could spend more than we get. So because we keep printing and we keep spending more than the 5,000 a month that we make, that the deficit keeps going up, because your budget is 5,000, you're spending, let's say, 10,000. You're 5,000 in the hole every month. And if you're 5,000 in the hole every month, you got a deficit which goes towards your debt. Oh shit, I put it on my credit card, and we know how that is. You got a credit card with 10 grand on it. Well, that's your debt. You owe it. Only the US is 37 trillion, and they can't print 37 trillion to pay it off. So they're looking for ways to make more money instead of 5,000. And that's what Trump's doing with Dougie, is he's trying to cut government. And, but that's already money spent. It's money that this year that he maybe can balance the budget, which I don't think he can, because he's still got $1 trillion in debt, over $1 trillion in military, and whatever Social Security, Medicare are, and the pensions of all the government workers. That's why you can't have big government. You can't afford it. How can you pay everybody? Where are you getting the money from? Again, the government doesn't produce any revenue. So if we look at CTU, Jack Bauer, how do we pay them? Do they produce revenue? No, they don't make money. They see Hassan Habib out there trying to nuke something, and they stop them. It costs money, but they don't get revenue for it. So a lot of the government doesn't make revenue, but they have cost. And so the beauty of gold is the demand for gold is very strong in the world. All the BRICS countries, Russia, China, India, they're all realize the dollar's printed to death. See, and this is what us Austrians realize the Keynesians don't. If you listen to Jim Rickard, he said, well, you can print as much as you want. With a reserve currency, you can just keep printing to infinity, which is a lie. You can't. You are limited how much you can print before you kill the value of it. That's why everybody's buying gold and silver, because they realize you're killing the dollar. It has no value now. Like they say, Egon says 99%'s gone. I say 100%'s gone. Meaning, when I show you 1970s McDonald's and it's 10 cents for a hamburger, and then I show you 2025 McDonald's, which is now like what, $7 for who knows if it's a hamburger. Who knows what they're serving you. So you can see it went from 10 cents to $7. And that's just a little burger. You can see a house went from 25,000 in the late 60s, early 70s to now 500,000. So that's what the printing does. And if we've lost 99 or 100% of that value, and you realize that, and you know that's what's happening, because you can see all the prices high. $6 for Oreos. Now it's what, $3.50 for a 2-liter Coke, which should be 25 cents. You can see it's the money that's lost its value. So if I'm Putin, or if I'm Japan and China, and I'm BRICS, I realize, shit, we're tied to the dollar, which is going bankrupt. We got to get out of this. So we get rid of the dollars, just like me and you and everybody in our class does, is go, well, fuck, we can't stay in this because this is worthless. So if I have $100,000, I got to get out of it because it's going to zero, and I got to buy the gold, because I buy gold and silver because you can't counterfeit it, you can't print it, you can't inflate it. You got to find a mine and dig it out of the ground and turn it into coins. But the problem is they're all gone. Although, yeah, there's a new mine here and there, and there's some sunken treasure chest ships in Spain, somewhere at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, okay, but that's all kind of counts. So of the gold available to buy, it's gone. There is no more left. And therefore, why do you buy gold is because you can't lose. First of all, as this loses value, the demand for gold raises the price. It's not like Alligator keeps saying that it's the dollar losing value, so gold goes up. It's because what he's saying is it takes more dollars to buy the gold, like the Oreos or the Cheerios at the grocery store. That's the dollar going down, so the price goes up. But gold, the demand for gold is pushing the price up. All the BRICS countries buying, 20,000 tons, 10,000 tons of gold at 32,000 ounces a ton. So you have the demand, which jacks the price up, plus it's limited. And so if you're going to get out of the dollar, you have one choice. It's a monopoly. Gold and silver is it. There's nothing else to go to. So when the stock market's crashing and people need to cover their margins on their spreads, what do? They sell their gold contracts, because they're not smart enough to buy the physical gold. Because the gold contracts, there's millions of, but not with the gold coins. There's a whole lot less gold coins than gold contracts because they're leveraged. So that's what you saw there today with the stock market up to 38.9. Then people are buying the dips. They're making a huge mistake. They're gonna get crushed. Real deep. Who knows what they serving us? Housing market is really unbelievable. Man, I should have been saving up since I was 2 years old. Well, since we're stoic here, real deep, all I can tell you is you can't really go back. All you can do is just you don't listen to anybody but me. You just kind of you do your thing, you make your thing, and all you can do is go from here. So from going on, I mean, certainly you can buy silver right now at $32 an ounce. Certainly, you can still buy gold quarter ounces. They're about $8.50. You've kind of missed the boat on this, where I bought this for $200. But when I went to the shows in the 90s, what did I make sure? Clean, good corners, very well centered. I still think this Willie Mays card's a 10. It's clean as hell. The corners are sharp, but look at the centering. It's a beautifully centered card. This could be my 10. We'll have to see. But that's okay. But so now you're where are we now? So yes, we should have been buying, and we all wish we'd have bought it, but we didn't really understand it. We just saw gold in the 70s, it was 35 an ounce, went up to 800, and then COMEX came in to short it. But all you can do now is get out of your dollars and go into silver and gold. And if you can't afford ounces, you buy quarter ounces or tenth of an ounce. It doesn't matter. When gold hits 50,000 an ounce, a quarter ounce will be 15,000. It'll be about $12,000, and you're going to pay 800 for it. But gold will be the trigger. That'll buy you a house, as I explained to Luke. Because the values now, everything's is priced in dollars. So what do you think is going to happen with Frosted Flakes? They're $6 a box. Well, what's going to happen is when they go to a silver, it'll be a tenth of an ounce of silver will equal $6. It'll probably equal more. So when you go to the grocery store, you have this tiny bit of silver, but it's not. First of all, it's not going to be what do you call it? Trade. It's not going to be trade. The grocery store will take silver. Barter. People think there'll be barter, and you're going to use silver and gold to barter. No, that's money. Barter is taking this card and saying, I want a car. Getting it graded first. Oh, it's a 10. It's worth $100,000. I want a car. That's barter, because this isn't money. But gold and silver are money. You don't barter money. You use money. So that's what you have. But yeah, but that's back to your initial thought. Gold and silver are the best things because they can't be printed. Unless you get like a Kurt Warner, this is the same kind of principle. They only have 400 of them. That's it. There can't be more than 400. See, I don't understand. People think Bitcoin is 21 million is a limited number, and I show you a 400 count. Well, what the hell is 400 versus 21 million? Now, it's Kurt Warner. It's a refractor. He was a good player, but I do have that Tom Brady refractor of his rookie card, and it's Tom Brady. I don't know what that value is, and I got to get it graded, but this is the point. That's limited. Believe me, a PSA 10 of 68 Mays is limited. There won't be 50 of them. Hence the reason for the high value. So all you can do is try to be Rumpelstiltskin and turn your dollars or your assets into gold and silver. That's all you can do. any asset you have, sell, get this, go to the coin store. I give you my guy's number and turn this into gold and silver and just put it in your safe. That's what I've been doing. Now I had some savings and that's what I do, but I'm basically out of money. I got my Social Security. That's what's in the bank right now. And that reminds me, I got to pay my credit cards. So I got that on Monday. Everything was good yesterday. I'm seeing unemployment here in Michigan is going up $90 a week. I was getting 362, which was a joke. Now it's at least 450. So that goes to 1,800 a month, which is still a joke. But next year it goes up, and the year after that it goes up. But I don't, unless I go back to work, which I'm looking for work, but there just isn't much for my level. And I'm not going to go work at a grocery store because I'm getting Social Security. So there's no reason for me to go work at a grocery store. I would actually lose because I'd have to pay tax on my Social Security. This way I can just take the Social Security. I don't have to work. So that's kind of what I'm doing. But I hope to be doing the seminars on gold and silver, as I think they're desperately needed. Because even when you listen to Andy Scheckman or even Alligator, most of the time they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. They're basically brokers or sale. Andy Scheckman's just a salesman. You can't listen to him about economics, and he talks like he's a salesman. He talks a lot, doesn't say anything. So we see the Dow go from 45 to 38. Even though gold futures went down in COMEX, it's jumping back up today. And we know once the market settles down a little bit from all these tariffs, gold will settle back to 3,100, on its way to 3,500, on its way to 5,000. Gold's headed there. It's a one-time thing. These stocks crashing. So if you have money in stocks, at what point are you sweating? It was 45,000 and you're thinking, well, it'll just go up to 100,000. It'll never stop. Well, now it's 38,000. It's 38,000, but it was 45. So how comfortable are you in stocks, which are basically a Ponzi scheme? It's basically just derivatives going up. Stocks are a form of derivatives going up and down. It's emotional. And then JP Morgan can come along after they lose trillions in the derivative mess that they got themselves into with gold and silver. They're going to lose their ass. They're going to steal your stocks. And they're going to take the money from the bank because they're not going to lose. And that's where the problem arrives. So do you trust your money in the bank, and do you trust the stocks? No, because they're not yours. They can take them. However, if you have gold and you got it in your hand, let's pretend this is gold. It's not. It's a sands chip. You got it in your hand and it goes in your safe. Guess what? It's yours. Guess what? They can't take it from you. There's nothing they can do. They can't say, like in Attack on Wall Street, your 60,000 is worth zero now. They can't do it. I mean, they're trying to price control gold and silver. They can't. Silver's back above 30. Gold's back over 3,000. That's them trying to control it. You can't. Because our buddies are BRICS, the BRICS countries, and they keep adding and adding and adding. And as they add them, then they have to buy gold because they're going to the gold-backed currency, which means you better own gold if you want to join BRICS. Prophet, good morning. Looks like gold has rebounded nicely. Unfortunately, I can't say the same thing. Well, you got unlucky. Houston had them the whole game. And at the end, they had them. And a bad break at the end. We bet the under, as I gave you Sunday. Yesterday, I had to help Alyssa. But I had already given the pick on Sunday. The under 140. I didn't understand it. Against Duke, it was like 135. And here it was 141 yesterday on Florida, which was a joke. There's no way Houston plays games in the 140s. And this was what, 60 something, 60. It was a 120 something game. So I couldn't believe it went up from 135. But that was an under. That's the bet. That's why I don't like betting the bracket. I know you lost with Houston. You had Houston and +2. Oh, good for you. Did you bet the under? The under was the play with Houston's defense. This is what I told you to play the best defensive team, and you almost won the bracket at Houston as the winner. I think people probably took Duke. Maybe you took Auburn. I don't know how many Florida people there were. They made that one guy look normal, right? The big shooter. All of a sudden, when he's being guarded, he wasn't a big shooter. That's why I like to play one game at a time, not the whole bracket. Because as we got into it, you just got betting the under on the Houston games. It was easy money. Now, I hadn't watched one game all year, didn't know any players, still don't know any players. I was this close to picking the winner of the tournament. Without watching it, going on my theory, you bet defense. Just like you do in the NFL, if you bet the defense, you have a very good chance of winning because they can always stop a good offensive team. Look at Philly. They killed Mahomes. Surely Mahomes is 100 times better than Jalen Hurts. Barkley didn't do shit. But the defense scored one, gave him the ball to 10, stopped Mahomes, a couple of interceptions. Defense always wins because you can stop good offense with good defense, but you can't stop good defense with good offense. It doesn't work. Yeah, Cooper was shut down. Yeah, and we knew he was. I was listening to BetMGM when I dropped the list off, and it was the girl, oh, I'm going to take that guy, and he's going to, these guys score like 25, 30 points or whatever. I just laughed, like, not against this defense. See, they don't know. Here's somebody on BetMGM. This is how stupid they are. They're saying, oh, I'm going to bet this guy to score a lot. Not even understanding the concept of the defense shuts the offense down, which we've seen from the Packers of the 60s to the Steel Curtain to Montana's great 80s defenses when he had them to the Bears, 84, 85, 86 defense. And then LT came in, and then Jimmy Johnson's defense, and then Ray Lewis. They always win when they get there. And the only reason the Steelers lost is Bradshaw threw all these interceptions. That's why Namath lost. He threw a lot of interceptions. If you would have just ran the ball and played error-free, the Jets would never have lost because they had the number one defense. So Namath gets you a few touchdowns, and that would have been it. But when he throws 7 interceptions against Denver, I remember that quote on one of these ESPN things, and it says, and they, hey, Joe, we're wearing green next week. Like, throw the ball to the green team instead of the white team. So I don't know that. Let's go back to Real D. I don't know about the Jewish part, but he said gold is the best thing to always put your money in. Did you tell him to watch me? That the professor, religiously states that. That's probably one thing that because it's limited. It's not because it's gold. It's not because he's Jewish. But you want limited things. And that's why I show you, that this is why I show you it's a 400 count. Or these other cards I had. Here's a Mark Messier in this beautiful blue ice collection. And these are 250 counts. So back at the time, that was it. Now there's a lot of 25 counts and 50 counts. So I normally go after those. I do have a 1-of-1 Steve Yzerman. I thought about driving down to the Red Wings and trying to meet Yzerman and saying, okay, how much do you want to give me for your card? There's only one of them. I got a feeling that will get his attention. Um, so I feel what's going to happen. People are starting to understand inflation is printing the money to zero, not prices. So the government sells this bullshit, it's prices, which it's not. So therefore, you're going to sit there and people are going to start waking up to the dollar being worthless. And when you look around, the only other thing is gold and silver. That's your only option, right? So you get away from, well, I got to play Rumpelstiltskin. This is where I come up with my creative ideas. You've got to play this. You have to get out of this because it's not worth anything. It's like an expensive car that now has 1,000,000 miles on it, and it's worth $2 because you've killed it. That's what the dollar is. And so you start realizing your only out is gold and silver. But when your margin calls start hitting because you're an idiot, and I would never say to take margin calls. If you did, it'd be in and out in a day. I wouldn't margin call for a long term. Nothing is set in stone. As I watch these older videos of growing up in the 70s and 80s, there's Kmart. Well, it's not there anymore. There was Sears. Well, it's not there anymore. So let's say you had Kmart and you put an option on it for 10 years. It's gone. It's worthless. Kmart doesn't exist. Sears doesn't exist. Actually, it's a very clever video. It's called like what it was like growing up in the 60s or 70s or 80s, which I did. And you'll see all these old restaurants, Bonanza, Ponderosa, and we were watching yesterday, and there was a bunch of restaurants, and they all had the same excuse. They didn't know Austrian economics. What do you mean by that, Howard? Okay, there was restaurants that came out of that I never heard. They're on the East Coast. They're in California. They're in Florida. And the same thing, competition and the change in menu, and they went broke, and they got out of business. And it's because they didn't change with the times. In other words, what was good 10 years ago is not good now. I got to change the market. And I do it all the time with when I show you about New England. I tell you about Tom Brady when he was playing. He's not New England. We're using New England trends, but now he goes to Tampa. I can't use New England trends anymore. That's what they needed to do, is keep up with the times. He's now on Tampa. Now I got to use Tampa's trends. But I can't use the old Tampa trends because that's without Brady. I got to wait for Brady to give me some Tampa trends. That's why I usually wait 7-8 weeks. Caleb, now I have some trends on him. Jalen Daniels. Penix I don't have yet. He only played a few games. But we'll get it this year. I don't even know if Cam Ward will be starting. He's terrible. But, now Caleb, it's hard to use because now they got a new coach. So between the new coaches and the new quarterbacks who they rush in the first year, which I don't understand. When you do that, you got to get new trends. And that's why people that use technical analysis who are using it on gold and silver now don't know what they're doing, because that's before, but now you got to factor in brics, which you can't factor in, and that's why gold's at 3,000 is because of brics. Well, brics wasn't there in 2008, in 1999, in 1980. So you can't look at the trend in gold and use it as the same analysis and the same variables as you can now. Now it's VIX. It's a totally different thing with brics. Putin, you got to count Putin's 20,000 tons of gold in his pool. How do you count that? How do you can't, all right? It's new. You've got new variables. So you can't say, oh, this or that. It's not going down because BRICS keeps buying and growing and buying more and more gold. I listened to Scott Brissett, the Treasury Secretary. What a loser that guy is. Oh, my God. Talk about somebody you don't know.